it's MCG got us here, and we need to have a chit chat because I remembered a conversation from, like, I swear, like a year ago. I'm in my car, driving, I'm back, I'm going back from work. It's been like an 8-hour day, and I'm like, fam, let's get home, let's chill out. But my head's like, why would you do that? Why would you relax, Tracy? We can't relax because we need to remember this conversation that you had a year ago with someone about this magic conversation. Let's talk about that. So I'm on my way back, and I'm just like trying to relax from this day. And, my head was like going at it, and it was like playing like, my head's like playing ping pong. I think that's a really good analogy of what it looks like, because you're just like there's just all stuff going on. Okay? Okay. So basically, hold up, tea break. So, can't we just talk about how, like, one of the most relaxing things to do is, like, drink tea, or, if you're a coffee drinker. I'm not a coffee drinker. Never had coffee, never will. It's not something I will do in my life. So, drinking coffee, tea, or hot chocolate, or something warm while you're, like, watching YouTube videos or filming YouTube videos, it's, like, the most relaxing thing. Alright, let's talk about that. Okay, so, here's when Tracy's not happy. So, this conversation that I had with this dude, he was, like, talking, I don't remember, like, what the context of the conversation was. I don't know why we were talking about this, but he was like, well, having 2 wins and 2 losses, like going 2-2, is really not an accomplishment. And I kind of brushed it off. And then I kind of took a step back. And then again, flash forward a year later, now I'm real mad about that. I just shook my dresser. I got real upset there. So the reason why this really upset me is to see that someone going 2-2 isn't an accomplishment. Upset me because I was there in drafting. Like, I was at that, I guess, like, that kind of stage. And how I feel a lot of times, sort of competitive, the way that it kind of works typically, at least in seeing it in my game, sort of, this is my view of it. You have those people who you know are really good at Magic, who almost every night they would go 4-0. Like, let's take drafting, for example. In my draft setting, still do. I haven't been there in a while because I haven't been away at school because I graduated. Loved going to draft. It was so fun. I remember, like, sometimes I would just go and not play. I would just, like, watch. Like, I remember this one time I had to do a paper for one of my classes, but, like, I didn't want to be in my room, so I went to draft and brought my laptop and brought, like, 3 textbooks and was, like, and then I was like, and then, like, wrote my paper as I was in the thing for draft, because I was like, I just need, like, to be around people, and it was great. I actually got my paper done, and that was a great paper. Let's just talk about that. So it was a really great environment. I loved the people who I was drafting with, but at that time I was still, and I still am, I wasn't really, like, great at it, like, a lot of times I got to the point where I would win, like, probably at least a round, and then, would go on, and, sometimes there was a little bit different. Sometimes I feel like I remember us only doing 3 rounds. Our FNMs kind of started a little bit later, and you also have to factor in with draft that you take a lot of time to actually draft and construct your deck. So it's not like you go in at 6:30 and you play for 3 hours, and you play, 3-4 rounds. Like, no, it was, you have to construct a deck, so that takes time. So we wouldn't get into drafting until, like, 11. So sometimes we'd only do, like, 3 rounds. And, I found myself in that stage in drafting where I was, like, just getting, like, a little bit good. I was getting myself a little bit more established. Still not 100%. I wasn't still, like, I'm, like, the best drafter in here, Like, I knew people who were so much better at drafting. Those people who would, like, almost every night, would do so well because they were so good at drafting. They were really skilled Magic players. And for me, going, like, 2-2 or, like, 2-1 was a huge accomplishment for me. At that time, I was so excited about that, and, like, it's kind of like, going up to someone and being like, hey, like, I did this really awesome thing, and that person being like, oh yeah, so you went 2-2, well, I went 4-0, and then you just be able to be like, hello, my hand, it's just gonna go on your face, because that's rude. That is so rude. It's so obnoxious. It's basically being like, I'm way better at this than you are, and it's like, why can't we just, like, appreciate this person for what they're doing, and maybe at that time, their skill level and what they're doing. So, like, I thought about a lot recently, too, about Magic YouTubers, what's really interesting to me is like that, you know, I film YouTube videos, but I'm not over here being like, I'm so good at this game. Dude, I joke how awful I am at this game all the time. Like, seriously, I do that all the time. I make misplays all the time. I'm like, I'm a real life person. And like, it makes me think a lot about how the other YouTubers are. Like, are they over here being like, oh yeah, I'm like so good at this game? Or are they like, hey, listen, like, I've made mistakes. I'll like say things wrong in my videos and you guys are like, Tracy, that's not how that works. I mean, sometimes I misspeak, like that's what I meant to say and then I just didn't say it because, again, my head, it's like a pinball machine and it's working at like 115 kajillion miles an hour and I'm just trying to like talk and get all these thoughts out there. And again, no piece of paper, no PowerPoint presentation. We just mouth video. What? Like, this is just how it works. So, yeah, and then, like, my friend, one of my good friends, Dimitri, who would draft with him all the time, super awesome, great dude, super awesome, great, yep, super awesome dude, love him, and Dimitri is one of those people who's just kind of getting started into the draft setting, and drafting, in my opinion, is one of those things that you get better the more times you draft. But Dimitri, with the financial situation, couldn't always afford to go to draft every week. So I think that he felt that he wasn't as good as he could be, as I think a lot of us feel like that. And I want to go back to that thought, because, remind me guys, I just gotta do that. Oh man, I got a piece of paper right here. Hope you guys really know this is straight up all unscripted. Like, I don't plan this out. This is real talk. What was I gonna write down? Don't remember. Not important. Anyways, so, Dimitri basically would... Did I remember that thought? I don't know if that was a thought. Maybe we'll go back to that. So, Dimitri, you know, would even if he got like a game win, like not a round win, but a game win, he'd be so excited. Whenever he won like a round, and you know what was funny is he was one of those people who, like, tiny little baby, he was like 3 years younger than me, and like was really interesting because he kind of felt like, I don't know, I could be wrong about this, but I felt like kind of looked up to me in a way and like really asked me for my advice all the time, which I just think is such a huge compliment. And I know it sounds kind of weird coming from me because I feel like I sound pretty confident about myself and like sound like, yeah, I make YouTube videos, like, of course I know what I'm talking about. But like, it was just, it's always a huge accomplishment when people are like, hey, like, what's your opinion, like, on this? Like, what do you think of this card? Like, whatever. And so Dimitri would come to me all the time and like ask me questions and be like, hey, and I remember, like, I would help him, like, all the time with his EDH decks, and I would be like, hey, these cards are really bad, you should take them out. Straight up, that's how I would be. I would, Dimitri knows this, I would fling cards. I do this a lot, so I would, hold up, fam, I got you. Okay, so this is, alright, guys, almost done on camera. God, I'm hot. Man. Alright, so, this is ladies, by the way. Guys, we need, like, 2 or 3 more cards and then this deck is done. Well, not done, like, I'm still gonna tweak it, of course, but, like, I have enough cards to actually start playing. So, and I really don't want to throw this deck because this deck is really good, so I'm gonna try to angle this way. So I'd be, like, looking through his deck and I'd be like, bad, 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 bad. And I think, too, like, I would look through his deck and, like, you know, I wasn't saying that I was, like, yeah, man, like, I'm an expert at everything. But, like, he trusted me a lot with his opinion. So, like, whenever Dimitri would win, especially, like, against me, he was always like, well, like, you know, this was a huge accomplishment because, like, you're a good Magic player. In which case, I very much laughed and I was like, LOL. I was like, not really. But thanks for the compliment. I will definitely take that. We'll take the little compliment. We'll just stick it right there. Thanks for that. But... that was a really attractive face. I know. You don't need to tell me. You don't need to tell me. I don't know why I have so much energy. I was like so dead at work today. I was like I could take a nap right now. I don't take naps, but I could just take a nap right now. My body doesn't. It doesn't. Naps and me just don't agree. We don't do it. So, yeah. Yeah, so like anytime Dimitri would win and would get like a game win, even if it was like against me, he would be so excited, and you know, it would drive him back, and he would get his pack, and he'd be so excited. And it was like, for me, it was so cool, like watching someone who was not only just younger than me, but someone who was like, you know, just getting into I wouldn't go all the way and say draft is 100% completely competitive. Like, you go to, like, unless you're playing, like, the Pro Tour, like, competitive level draft, but, like, it's more of a casual competitive thing. Does that make sense? Like, competitive's, like, all the way over here. EDH, if you play casually, is, like, here. You know, draft can be, like, you know, kind of sort of, like, around here. You know what I mean? I think it tends to be a little bit more of a casual. I always viewed it as definitely a more fun thing, and not as, like, you know, tooth and nail, like, you know, rip it off your teeth or anything like that. So yeah, it was like really cool to see him like so excited. And yeah. Oh, and what I wanted to say, and so yeah, so then there would be like people like that guy that I was telling you about who said that one thing that made me real mad at the beginning of the video, which was like 20 years ago, who would be like, yeah, I mean, you did like 1 of 3. You're probably awful, and you should just not really brag about how you've done. In which case, it'd be like, yo, fight me, because that is an accomplishment for someone like Dimitri. And for someone like me going 2-2, when previously I would go 0-4 or 1-3, like, that's such a big deal. Like, you're taking big steps. And it wasn't all the time, you know, sometimes I would get to 2-2, and the next week it would be 1-3 or like something like that. But it's a work in progress, like, and another thing I was, like, thinking about, too, is how, like, it is okay to say that you're wrong, and it's okay to admit that, hold up, I just want to make sure we're not dying. Okay, camera battery may die soon, who knows. But it's okay to say that you're wrong, or it's okay to say that, you know, hey, like, I didn't know that, but now I do. Thanks. I feel like we have this thing where we, like, always need to be right. It's like, yeah, I'm right about everything, I know everything, but then, like, for someone to, like, admit and be like, oh yeah, like, I didn't know that, or I was so wrong about that, I'm really sorry. It's, like, a really interesting human thing. I'm disconnected to some point in my head. What point? I don't know, man, couldn't even tell you. We got pinball machines going up there. Who knows what that point connected to? But yeah, that's like a big thing. All right, I don't know. Is that all I have to say? Who knows? Honestly, I've been all over the place in this video. Who really knows? But yeah, like, oh, okay. But real main point is, don't tell people like Dimitri that their wins are not an accomplishment, because it's not your accomplishment. Like, ooh, I had this, like, really awesome sentence that I have, and I feel like it should definitely be, like, a Twitter quote, and it should get, like, lots of reshares, retweets, which is, like, oh yeah, it's, like, don't judge someone's process because it's not yours. So, like, if you're, like, how do you get to 10, and I say 7 plus 3, and someone says 5 plus 5, you know, like, just because I didn't think the exact logic that you did, doesn't mean that my process is wrong. So yeah, don't be rude. I feel like that's the recurring message we're getting in a lot of MTG Goddess videos, is don't be rude. Bad. It will hunt you down. Don't be that guy or girl. Don't be that person who gives people a hard time, especially, like, newer players, or not just necessarily newer players, but newer players to a specific format, like someone who's just getting into draft, or someone who's just getting into modern, and you're like, well, you didn't top 8 your first event, cough cough, like me. I'm totally kidding. I actually did top 8 my first event, but I'm using that as, like, a loose example. Like, no, people would be like, huh, man, like, you didn't, you know, every tournament you haven't placed in, like, psh, you know, whatever. If you have very high expectations for yourself, that's fine, but don't bring those expectations onto other people, because someone else's accomplishment, like, for me, like, having anxiety around people, you know, when I do certain things, and I'm like, all right, I feel accomplished that I successfully went an entire week without setting anything on fire. That is an accomplishment in my book, really. Don't actually set things on fire. That's, no. Funny side note about setting things on fire, though. Segue. Paul and I play Diablo, and my character name is Liliana, and his is Vess, and we both play as mages, wizards, and I have, like, purple robes, so I am Liliana. I've got, like, black hair. It's great. And, you know, I have my whole thing, whatever, my spells that I cast, and Paul, like, literally is Chandra. Like, his name isn't Chandra, but he has, like, red, orange, like, robes, and then he sets everything on fire, and it's awesome. It's so fun playing Diablo. There's just fire on the screen all the time. It is so sweet. So, yeah. Side note. Side note. Yeah. Gosh, I need to do a live stream. These 20 to 30 minute videos, they're not long enough. They're just so not long enough. I need to start doing live streams. Yeah. That's all I got. Talk to you guys later.